I'm Rick Harp. This is your APTN News Brief for Tuesday, July 15th. We begin in Manitoba, where the chief medical examiner has called for inquests into the deaths of 7 men at correctional institutions between 2020 and 2021. And of those 7, 5 died by suicide at the Stony Mountain Institution, just north of Winnipeg. And as Sierra Bettens reports, the examiners also called for an inquest into the in-custody death of William Ahmo.
Between March and December 2020, 39-year-old Adrian Young, 25-year-old Patrick Eaglestick, 32-year-old Farron Rowan, 36-year-old Kurt Harper, and 38-year-old Melvis Owen died by suicide at the federal Stony Mountain Institution, just outside Winnipeg. On Monday, the province notified media that Manitoba's chief medical examiner, John Eunice, has called for inquests into their deaths. Inquests are also being called for 36-year-old Jesse Thomas, who died from a drug overdose while incarcerated at Stony Mountain on November 19, 2021, and 45-year-old William Ahmo. Ahmo, an Anishinaabe man from Seguin First Nation, died on February 14, 2021, after an altercation with several guards at the Headingley Provincial Jail. Ahmo's death was ruled a homicide. However, last September, provincial court acquitted Robert Jeffrey Morden, the guard who was charged in relation to Ahmo's death. Ahmo's family launched a civil suit against the province in February 2023. Their lawyer, Corey Sheffman, says the family has been waiting on an inquest to move forward.
The longer we go from William's death to an inquest, the less people are going to remember and the less relevant recommendations might be. The number one priority for William's family is to prevent what happened to him from happening to anyone else.
While he says swift action is necessary, he's also concerned about the 7 inquests being combined into one case.
It's important that we not bring together dissimilar cases where the result of that is going to be that the outcomes of those inquests will be watered down.
He says inquests will allow for more of the truth to come out and for recommendations to be made.
No one is going to be found guilty for anything at the inquest. That's not what the inquest is about. And so it's a really important opportunity to talk about policy changes, to talk about what went wrong and how to prevent it from happening again.
APTN reached out to Manitoba's chief medical examiner for comment, but did not receive a response by airtime. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Manitoba's Minister for Accessibility, Nahani Fontaine, has released another apology to the deaf community. Shared via social media over the weekend, it comes 2 weeks after she was caught on a hot mic saying she was distracted by an on-stage sign language interpreter at a graduation ceremony.
A couple of weeks ago, I used language that caused harm to the deaf and hard of hearing community. That moment doesn't reflect how I feel about deaf and hard of hearing Manitobans, ASL interpreters, or accessibility as a whole. I appreciate ASL is more than just language. It's deeply connected to deaf culture and community. I take full responsibility for my words, full stop.
Audio from a video posted to Fontaine's Instagram page Sunday. In it, she appears alongside an ASL interpreter. And Fontaine goes on in the video to say she'll participate in deaf and deaf culture training to better understand the community, adding a deaf or hard of hearing matriarch who will be added to her government's Matriarch Circle Advisory Group.
Even in the moments of frustration, I will always be mindful that my words remain inclusive and respectful. I'm human. I made a mistake, but I will do better. And I will keep showing up and continue the work of building a truly inclusive Manitoba for everyone.
Deborah Offshar was at the ceremony where Fontaine made the controversial remarks. The Métis College grad says she's happy with this latest apology, but says it should have been done this way much sooner. Fontaine had previously apologized by way of a written statement and on CBC Radio. To Saskatchewan, where wildfire season is far from over, as many continue to spread and threaten communities. And with firefighters battling the flames up north, the effects are felt across the province. Among the 55 fires active across Saskatchewan, one of the largest is the Muskeg Fire, sparked by lightning, now raging near Beauval and La Plonge Lake. There, firefighters do their best to defend properties and contain the flames, which the mayor of Beauval says have nearly surrounded the village. It's one of 9 communities under evacuation in the province, along with Canoe Lake, Canoe Narrows, Jans Bay, Montreal Lake, Pine House, La Plonge Indian Reserve, Pasternak, and English River First Nation. Officials hope for rain in the coming days to help fight the fires. Wildfire smoke has also triggered special air quality statements for Prince Albert and Saskatoon. It's been just over 35 years since the start of the siege on Gonassadaghe, better known to some as the Oka Crisis, an anniversary that last Friday was marked in downtown Montreal. Savannah Craig was there.
They want people to get hurt over a golf course. The Native people are fed up with being pushed around and our land taken.
35 years has passed since the 1990 siege on Gonassadaghe, when the federal government sent 4,000 soldiers into the Mohawk communities of Gonassadaghe and Ganawage. After a blockade formed in Gonassadaghe to prevent the neighboring town of Oka from building a golf course on part of Gonassadaghe's land known as the Pines, which included Ganyetkahaga burial grounds.
We're not going to forget it. It's not something to forget because it's not fixed.
A commemoration was held in downtown Montreal to remember the 78-day standoff.
It's not a celebration for us, for me anyways, because Marcel Lemay was killed for a golf course. A man lost his life. So for me, it's a commemoration, especially considering that we were shot at and were almost killed by the Sûreté du Québec.
The commemoration is an annual event held in Gonassadaghe, but it's the first time one was held in Place du Canada in downtown Montreal, where more than 100 people gathered.
Coming to Montreal, we thought would be a bigger voice, a bigger space to maybe call attention, have some calls to action, and help us to move forward in Gonassadaghe.
Wanda Gabriel was a young mother at the time of the siege. Her cousin, Ellen Gabriel, was the spokesperson at the time. She says the defending of Ganyetkahaga land didn't conclude in 1990.
How are we going to stop the land theft? Because they keep going. They're relentless.
Gabriel says Gonassadaghe continues to be threatened by land grab.
We're not out of the woods yet, and we still have people who want to develop. We have the, niobium mine that people want to reopen.
This is Mohawk land!
Former AFN-QL Regional Chief Ghislain Picard says what happened in 1990 was impactful for all Indigenous people.
The issue at hand back in 1990 is still very much the same issue today. It's an issue regarding lands, and to me, that's probably the kind of message that this commemoration has to carry. How do we go about settling issues that have been, long-standing for decades?
Some here today are not just commemorating 35 years since 1990, but they're also demanding calls to action to be implemented, some of which include upholding UNDRIP, establishing a community healing fund, and land back.
Another call to action is, for me, it's such a big event that happened in this country in 1990, and it's not in the history books. It's not in Quebec's history books. It's not in Canada's history books. It's not even in our own history books in the community. And I'd love to see it in our history books so that people can know and understand the implication of what happened.
And the original dispute has yet to be resolved.
The land dispute that has been going on for over 300 years and has not been resolved 35 years later, I think it's really important for people to realize that and understand that.
Savannah Craig, APTN National News, Montreal.
And that's your APTN News Brief for Tuesday, July 15th. I'm Rick Harp.